Hello there, Shortcuts. This is video 2 for Shortcuts Records price list, which will go out 9 p.m. this Wednesday, Sydney time. That is January the 22nd. Everything on this list will be for sale. And by the way, there's a lot of records on this, and I'll explain why in a second. This is the classic rock list. Around somewhere there on your feed will be the genre list, which features classics from Napalm Death, Iron Maiden, Eric Burdon and War, Dave Brubeck, Dusty Springfield, and more. This list will feature several great Japanese classic rock presses. It will then transition into a selection of Aussie classic rock kind of fillers in your collection, really great records that you might not have that you might want to grab to fill spots in or gaps in your collection. And then I will transition to a list of really, really good Aussie presses that I collected up over the last few months. And it's time to put them all on this thing so you can all decide whether there's any of these that you need to have. All right, now I'm going to start with some really cool Japanese. Now, of these 6 or 7 records, every single one of them could have been the lead-off record. But I've actually gone with this one just because of how unusual it is. You all know what this album is, but it might take you a second to work it out. This is Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet. This is the Japanese first press, the famed wet t-shirt version of this record. There is the band on the back. The story is that when the band finished this record, and I'm going to paraphrase because I can't quite remember it accurately, but effectively I can't remember, it's 100,000 copies of this record were pressed and sent to, I think, Japan and Canada. And then either the record company or the band, I think it may be someone at the record company, balked and went, "What are we doing? This sleeve is too much." I'm just going to see if I can move the Obi without... There you go. That gives you a kind of better view of just how suggestive this sleeve is. And they said, all right, well, we got to get a new sleeve. So they went outside and there was some droplets of rain coming down a window, and they created this smear and they used that. And so the rather, I guess, pedestrian Slippery When Wet sleeve that went out and sold a squazillion copies all around the world doesn't look like this. I wonder if it would have been as successful with this sleeve. I suspect yes, because of the quality of the hits. I mean, You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer, Social Disease, Wanted Dead or Alive are the last 4 tracks in side 1. It is just mega seller after mega seller after mega seller. I guess it defined a genre, and that genre was hair metal. I think it has to have been the biggest record in that genre. I mean, I know there's Poison and Extreme, and I guess to a certain extent bands like Motley Crue and others, but none of them were anywhere near as big as Bon Jovi. And John Bon Jovi still tours the world, and when he comes to Australia, it's still an event. So this guy is, a metal icon. Richie Sambora can clearly play. And what's really cool about the Japanese first press, and if you're lucky, it includes this. So I'm just going to show you this little extra that is only in a few. I think I've seen it once before. Can you read this? I'll just show you it and then I'll read it. It says, "This album should have come with a shirt and a hat because it has a heart and soul. See you at the party. Wanted, John Bon Jovi, 1986. Look at that. I wouldn't have expected him to say something like this, kind of heartfelt and, kind of clearly he's in love with his music. And then he calls his record Slippery When Wet. I don't know. It's very unusual. But this is a little signed JBJ from '86. And there's the inner. There's a little bit of discoloration, and I'm going to note that there is a little. Can you see that little bend on the corner? So the sleeve is not near mint. It's still pretty good. The obi's great, and the record itself is in fantastic condition. Very hard to find, and therefore a little bit pricey in this form with the obi and with the insert. But for John Bon Jovi or Bon Jovi completists out there, this is the one I have. It sounds great, and if you read the reviews, people rave about the sound quality of that particular press. Okay, many of you know my dog is called Bowie. I've got Bowie pictures around the house. David Bowie, I don't know. You can see what it is. I have two Japanese presses here. Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, and Heroes. Two of the classic records in the 70s canon of Mr. Dave Evans, aka David Bowie. The first being Ziggy Stardust under the K West sign, Starman, the title track, concept album that launched a million more concepts. Beautiful condition. I've raved about the quality of these Japanese presses of Bowie before. They are just simply wonderful, and I love the photographs that come in these inserts. It gives you an idea just how young he was when he was leading the way he was leading. I went to see A Complete Unknown, the Dylan biopic starring Timothy Chalamet and Edward Norton. I saw it in the large screen up at Warrywood, and I loved it. It's great. There's a lot of music. The actress who plays Joan Baez is just stunning, brilliant. Timothy Chalamet learned to play guitar, and he sings in his own voice, but doesn't try to imitate Dylan. He sings in a Dylan style, but in his own voice, and it's great. And it's got to be the case that Dylan and Bowie are the two most filmographied stars in music history. Maybe Elvis is in there, but I don't think so. The number of movies and documentaries and biopics and, and I guess, you've got your Queens and your Johnny Cash's Walk the Line. By the way, same director from Walk the Line as A Complete Unknown. I think A Complete Unknown's better. It's well worth your time. Anyway, slight segue. That's Ziggy Stardust in great condition. I haven't worked out what the various presses are yet. I will have all of that done by the time I publish the list. The first press was it 71 or 72, and then there's a 76 press, and then there's a 82 press. I can't, to my ears, hear much difference between them. The first press is harder to find and therefore a little bit more expensive, but I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to find out. And similarly for this is Heroes. This is the middle record in the Berlin trilogy, in between Low and Lodger. Personally, it's my third favorite of the three, but has, in some respects, higher highs than the other two. I mean, obviously, Heroes is a tour de force. It is just pretty much perfect. What Robert Fripp does on guitar on that in Heroes is really special. And then, leading up to it, Beauty and the Beast and Joe the Lion are piercing, kind of almost atonal in places, and fairly challenging little bits of rock nugget. But we get to the second side with V2 Schneider, Sense of Doubt. And you really do get the dystopian feeling that they must have had in that melting pot city with the pressure and the drugs and the sheer madness of what was going on around them with Iggy Pop and Brian Eno. Interestingly, on the back sleeve, all the artists, all the players are given their full titles. You have David Bowie, Carlos Alomar, who's a really great rhythm guitarist, Dennis Davis on percussion, George Murray on electric bass, Robert Fripp on lead guitar, and Eno on synthesizer, keyboard, and guitar treatments. Not Brian Eno, just Eno. Yeah, pretty cool. Tony Visconti adds a different production edge to Heroes as well. It's wonderful. Of course it is. And I really like the last track, The Secret Life of Arabia. Again, I'll have it worked out as to what press we have by the time the list comes out. I have a funny feeling that's a first press, but we'll see. Okay, this is definitely a first press. This is the debut solo album by one Mr. Peter Gabriel. Now, there are several artists that I have completely reassessed off the back of replacing my Aussie presses, almost exclusively Aussie presses, with Japanese presses. Roxy Music, quite a lot of Bowie, definitely Thin Lizzy, bizarrely, Steely Dan, and the others Peter Gabriel. The Japanese presses of Peter Gabriel are absolutely superb. And it's really nice having a really high quality sleeve too, because this design by Hypnosis, which was the same company that designed nearly all of Pink Floyd's 70s records, is really wonderful. What a sense of separation and loneliness and I guess detachment that comes from that sleeve. It's so beautiful. Of course, all of the first four were called Peter Gabriel, and they're all given nicknames by what's on the sleeve. This one is Car, but this one features Salisbury Hill. I think, certainly in his top 5 songs, and I know he's got some classics, but Salisbury Hill is really brilliant. I really like Modern Love as well. And the second side is, I guess, him reacting to his time in Genesis and doing something really quite new. And of course, this all leads up to So, and it's really, really cool. So that's the original Chrysalis label. I don't remember having any Peter Gabriel, because the ones I've got have gone straight onto my own shelf. I don't remember having that before, but it's pretty great. Okay, I got two presses here that I've had before, and then I'm going to go to my special bundle. This is Led Zeppelin 1. This is I'm pretty sure this is the 73 repress, which we all know and love, is really, really good. And this is the first press of the Runaways debut album, Cherry Bomb, You Drive Me Wild, Lita Ford, Joan Jett, Cherry Curry, and more. A really fun and underappreciated record. All right, before I go to my fly through of a whole bunch of classic rock and Aussie records, I want to talk about this. So, one of the, I think, most underappreciated bands of the 60s was the Animals. This is one of these typical, really nice compilations on super high quality cardboard. I can't remember what's on the inner, but it's, it covers all the bases on the hits. So House of the Rising Sun, Boom Boom, I'm Crying, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood, Blue Feeling, It's My Life, all the way through. So that in itself is really nice, and it's on the original kind of Odeon black label. Except what the guys in Shinjuku added in that I think is fantastic is this. It is the Japanese first press of House of the Rising Sun, and it is on red translucent vinyl. Look at that. The House of the Rising Sun on red translucent vinyl. B-side, Talking About You. Finbar, please. So this is great. Really great. Finbar, you could have waited till I was done. Ridiculous. So I'm going to keep going. So yeah, red vinyl, absolutely beautiful little item that sits in with this record. So yeah, the Animals, all about the Animals, complete with the red vinyl Japanese first press of House of the Rising Sun. Sorry for the interruption. I shall be having words with Finbar very soon. Don't be watting me. God damn it. All right, I will quickly move on. So that's the Japanese section. Now I've got going to run through really quickly a bunch of classic records that may or may not be gaps in your collection that you might want to pick up. And then similarly for an Aussie selection that I've been gathering up over the last probably 3-4 months. And it's got some really, really good stuff. And so let's crack through these. A lot of these albums will need no introduction. Okay, we have Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms. All of these are in excellent condition, except where I tell you different. Brothers in Arms. We have Bat Out of Hell, the monolithic album from the 70s, and this includes the lyric sheet and hard cardboard lyric sheet, and actually pretty good nick. Also includes his follow-up, which I cannot remember the name. What was it? Oh yeah, Dead Ringer. So there you've got both of the kind of big Meatloaf hits. You've got one of my favorite sounding records. You've got Graceland, Paul Simon on the Warner Brothers label. Lovely condition. This is surprisingly hard to find. This is the Billy Joel's Greatest Hits, the 2 LP pressing. Piano Man, New York State of Mind, The Stranger on the CBS label. She's Always a Woman, My Life, You May Be Right, Uptown Girl, etc., etc. So you get that. We just spoke about Peter Gabriel and Genesis, but here is probably the commercial peak of Phil Collins' Genesis, and that is Invisible Touch. Land of Confusion being an In Too Deep. You've got Tea for the Tillerman, Cat Stevens, classic album, Wild World. What a song that is. Father and Son, just, a few little classics with the little gold, what does that say? Gold Record Award. Officially certified by the Association of Australian Recorded Music. What else? We've got Phil Collins, No Jacket Required, Studio, One More Night, Don't Lose My Number, etc. We also have this, which is really cool. This is an early US press of the soundtrack to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. What a fantastic soundtrack this is. Gotta be up there with the best. So that's the kind of selection of classic rock fillers. If you don't have those, well worth having a look at. And now I'm going to run through similar selection, this time with an Aussie feel. I'm going to start with something actually pretty special. This is the American US first press of INXS's kick. It's the classic gatefold. It has a couple of inserts and lyric sheets, but I'm just going to show you the label. The label is the Atlantic green and orange, except on the back side, you've got this, which is really nice. This thing kicks. It's really good. For those INXS completists, or those of you who don't have a really nice copy of Kick by INXS, you could do a lot worse. It's really good. Really good. Highly recommended. There you go. What a beautiful thing. All right. Also have Moving Along by Rene Gare. I have Sons of Beasts by Australian Crawl, as well as Semantics by Australian Crawl. And I think there's some more Australian Crawl to come as well. We have some Body Swerve by Jimmy Barnes. We have some Angels. This is Watching the Red, the Angels. We also have Between a Rock and a Hard Place, Australian Crawl, and Sirocco by Australian Crawl. Got the theme. A little bit of Working Class. The Working Class Man, Jimmy Barnes, his double album in lovely condition. And then finally, also a gatefold, we have Dark Room by the Angels. So, if you're missing any Angels or Jimmy Barnes or Australian Crawl or INXS, there you have it. What a mix of Japanese bundles, red vinyl, inserts and craziness, and the odd little interruption when you're recording a video. If you've any questions, ping me. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you would like to be on the price list, drop me an email, shortcutsrecords@gmail.com. All right, that's it for this week. Price list will go out 9 p.m. this Wednesday, the 22nd, Sydney time, as always. Thank you so much for watching, and over and out.